Transportation Committee meeting of January 18th, 2022. May we have a roll call, please?
Chaplin. Here. Desart. Krajewski.
Here.
Ozog. Pachalski.
Here.
Zay.
Here.
I would like to make a request.
Jim, we're short one member right now. We need to have four. We need to have a physical quorum in the room. So if we could just get one more board member. that'd be
I
great.
thought if he was there, we'd have to take a voice vote on everything.
Unfortunately, on 7A, this is the old OMA. This
Oh,
wasn't that
okay.
7E where we got the,
So I'm going to have somebody made a member of this
Yes.
committee for purposes
if you can do
of
that
the forum.
first, that'd be awesome.
Then they leave.
They're supposed to see.
Yeah, that's fine.
So we can make somebody, under our county board rules, we can make somebody a member of this committee
For purposes
and
of
then
quorum.
for purpose of a
I
quorum,
would
we
make
do
a
need
motion
that.
to make member Greg Swiresy a member of the Transportation Committee for purposes of the quorum. Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you, Greg. Now, there's been a request to allow remote participation from members A under section 7A of the Open Meetings Act. I have a motion and a second. I'll second it. Any questions? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, the ayes have it.
Now does they have to leave?
Thank you.
Now we're 4 members,
No, he does
so we could
not.
have a 7-member committee.
We need 4.
Well, we could have a 7-member committee. We have 3 people remote, and we would just have to get 4, and then we have them all
Yeah,
on
I
there. We could have
understand.
7 members voting,
Potentially, yes.
which doesn't seem right.
I don't know.
Well,
We're
that's
good
how
right
I
now
think
because
that
of
is
Greg's
how-
staying. Thank you.
I
So,
mean, that's how, I don't know how you can have, once you have a quorum, how you can have somebody as a member that's not on the committee.
You know, that's a great question, Brian. There is nothing on point of that right now with that 7A. It says you have to have a physical quorum present in the room to be able to allow members, say, to be, there's nothing on point. I could argue that either way, but I do see your point.
So then when we've had 3, and then we get 4 to get a quorum, and then a 4th member walks into the room, and the
Right,
person has to leave, because now we have a physical
right. And
quorum.
unfortunately, the statute just says that we have to have a physical presence in the room. So just to be safe, I think this is the better practice.
that's fine.
Yeah, I just, well, take them.
We don't have that
I
clarified
understand.
because, you know, we have to be consistent in all our meetings and it seems to
I
me.
just don't know how you can have a 7-member committee. We could have a 7-member committee then, when there's only 6 allowed on the committee.
Wait, we're gonna,
Well, if you have 3 people remotely,
have that
no,
right now.
Potential.
yeah, we're fine.
We're
have
fine.
six.
we're fine now, but it doesn't matter if it's 7 or 5. But I would like, because I don't think that's right. I don't think that once you have a quorum, I don't think you have anybody that's not on that committee sitting there.
Yes, you can always add somebody for purposes of making a quorum. You can add them as a member.
Right, but then we just made Zay a member. Now we have a quorum. of-
Zay is a member, Zay's attending remotely.
But now we have a physical quorum of our committee. So now we have another member who's not on our committee. And if
So
you,
Brian, that had to be done in order to do the
That
remote.
is
So I don't know,
correct.
it's a chicken or
That's
the
the
egg, you know,
but
so.
if Jim was in the room here or if Jim came in the room after we just made Greg a member, then Greg would have to leave.
No, he could
Yes, he
stay.
would.
He would no longer be, he
He could have a
would no
vote.
longer be needed for purposes of a quorum.
But he can't participate in voting.
That's correct. Correct.
Yeah, But now.
I'll leave if you want.
Yeah. You know, you always talk to some- All right, let's,
But I
let's,
would like an answer on that.
Okay.
all right.
I will happy to look into it more.
All right, thank you. Let's go to the meeting. Jim, thank you for causing this meeting to be one of our longer meetings of the year. That's something that is totally not pertinent to transportation. All right, I have no chairman's remarks. We are getting a presentation today on the trails plan. I think everybody looked it over. It'll be on our website today. It's great how many users there are, and we're trying to reach out to as broad a population as we can. I think most of this will come from the actual loop users, so I'm glad it's on our website. I'm glad it's on the trails, and I think that the participation will be mostly people who take advantage of this gem, okay? We have no public comment. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the January 4th, 2022 meeting? Did I have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you. If there's any changes, alterations, or corrections, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Next is agenda 6, which is procurement requisitions. May I have a motion to approve DT 0050-22 recommendation for approval contract of Altoffer Industries to furnish and deliver 1 Caterpillar Mini hydraulic excavator for the Department of Transportation for a cost not to exceed $166,150. We had a motion and second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes. Next is 7, which is change orders. I'd like a motion to combine agenda items 7A, B, C, D, and E.
Second.
Okay, let's go find in. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Next, I'd like to approve change order A to Clark Hill, which is a decrease of 70% or $28,000. B, which is a change order to Clark Hill PLC, 56% decrease, $22,570. Change order to Electrician to decrease, it goes 94%, $37,812. D, change order Electrician to decrease 89%, $35,730. And finally, E, which is change order Wilco Inc. to decrease 78%, $23,514. Now, last time in our meeting, there was issue that we had an increase. Well, it goes that we have decrease as well. So we have about $148,000 in decreased contracts. Just wanted that of the record. So we see that we have both increases, but these are all decreases. Those have been combined. Are there any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Thank you. Now we have item 8, which is a general resolution, move to approve DTR 00490-22, a resolution for additional appropriations for impact fee service area in Milton Township. And these are for road improvements on Bloomingdale and Geneva Road. We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the ayes have it. Next is our presentation on the Trails Plan Engagement Summary. Sid, you are going to be taking it from this point on.
Yes. First of all, thank you, committee. I apologize for this not getting to you ahead of time. I had a little bit of a technical difficulty issue. Can everybody hear me and see the screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Next slide, please. Good. Thank you. So where we're at today, I think we broached this plan with you a few months ago. The stage that we're at right now is we're in a standards development phase. We have recently concluded our public engagement phase, our first phase at least, in which we'll get into the methods of that later. But right now we are developing the standards that we're going to review and develop as we move forward in this stage of the process, and how they're going to affect our compatible uses, innovation of how we want to use the trail, and how we want to allow users to wayfind along the trails network. Next slide, please. So at this stage, as Chairman Pachalski alluded to, our goal was to gather public input from the trail users on trail use, character, barriers, wayfinding, all the pillars that are related to our goals and objectives that we talked about a few months ago. And our method for this engagement push was we produced an online survey that could be accessed through the DuPage County Trails Plan project website. As you see in front of you, DuPageTrailsPlan.com. That survey was live for 5 weeks from October 4th through November 9th. We also, in order to increase the outreach of that trail survey, we put 36 yard signs throughout the network on the Prairie Path, Great Western Trail, and Southern DuPage Regional Trail. We worked with our partners in communications, especially Joan Olson and her staff, and we distributed our survey to our community partners that will be with us throughout the plan. Next slide, please. So as an overview of the respondents that we got, we had over 2,300 responses, which is great. We don't often get this many, so we're very, very thrilled about that. The respondents indicated that by and large, they live close to the trail, as you can see both from the map by zip code and from their responses. Nearly half lived within 2 miles of the trail, but we also noted that 18% of them traveled over 10 miles to our trails network. So if 1 in 5 of the respondents are regional visitors, we're certainly interested in that. One thing that we did note was that of the respondents, they were generally in a bell curve in terms of age, didn't have so many on the oldest or youngest ends, but a lot of folks between their 30s and 60s did respond to this survey. They're predominantly white, and we think that is because the zip codes that they come from also happen to be demographically that breakdown. Next slide, please. We also wanted to inquire with our trail users what trails they had used in the past year. We got, unsurprisingly, overwhelmingly, a lot of them indicated that they've used the Prairie Path and the Great Western Trail, though 1 in 4 of them did indicate that they used the Southern DuPage Regional Trail. So we did get a good number of respondents, relatively speaking, from that group. 58% on bike, 41% on foot. Of the other category of primary ways that they use the trail, we heard a lot about folks using riding horses. How often these people visit the trail? Most of them, 2/3 of them, indicated that they are on the trail at least once a week or more. Overwhelmingly, the respondents indicated that they are on the trail for exercise and fitness or for outdoor recreational activities. Next slide, please. We also wanted to inquire if there were any conditions on the trail that may have made folks feel unsafe. Half of the respondents indicated they never felt unsafe on the trail, so that was good to hear. Of the folks that indicated that they did feel some safety issues, or they did experience some safety issues, 1/3 of them indicated that crossings or conflicts with automobiles were a concern, which is in line with what we had originally imagined. And 1 in 5 indicated that they may have been concerned about others who are on the trail. We also wanted to inquire about where folks go on the trail system, how they navigate it. And so we found that most of them indicated, about half of the respondents had indicated both that they use maps that are already on the trail, or they were already familiar with the trails that they use and probably did not use as much wayfinding materials as we have out there. A significant number also indicated that they use their smartphone. We were disappointed to find that most of those folks did not indicate that they use the Trails app, but that means that we have an opportunity there to try to engage them with that application that we provide. And finally, we wanted to know what percentage of the respondents indicated that they were part of any trail stewardship groups or any clubs or activities. And so 1/5 have been involved in a club activity, and 16% have been in a trail cleanup. So we certainly appreciate that. Next slide, please. As far as folks who are using the trail for today's purposes, obviously, we're not going to be creating new connections or recommending new connections as part of this plan. But for future bike planning purposes, we did want to know some of the locations that folks would like to connect to. We were interested to find that Morton Arboretum was the biggest one. And even though trail signs were all throughout the county and not concentrated nearby Morton Arboretum, it seemed like by and large, this was the biggest group of desired connections. We also found that a lot of folks want to just get north and south, period. We have a great east and west network, and we think folks want more north-south connections or more connections countywide. So it was nice to see that support there. We also asked about trail users' preferences for trail character. We found that folks really love the wooded, shaded areas, but we found also that we got a lot of responses back, since there was an open-ended portion of this question. A lot of responses back that people just liked them all. They like the trail in general. If they're out there, they enjoy it. And people certainly seem to indicate that they enjoyed native flora and fauna. And so for those that are out there for a recreational experience, that is certainly what they want to see. Next slide, please. So I just want to conclude here, just as a reminder of our next steps. For some upcoming milestones, we're still on target to complete our standards development phase and the other phases here as indicated. We intend to get back to the public and launch another trail user survey this year with some additional questions. We don't want to bog folks down with too much at one time. And our final plan, we're still on target for getting that done in the first quarter of 2023, March 2023 being our target date. So with that, I'd also like to extend an invitation to Transportation Committee members to participate with us in any one-on-one engagement opportunities. We'd like to hear your thoughts on the Trails Network, if there's anything that you guys would like to see or see us improve on. And we would, in that format, we would propose that it would be a virtual meeting, perhaps on Zoom or Microsoft Teams, one-on-one with us. It would just be myself and John Loper and one of our consultants. And we would just have an open-ended conversation. We'll send you some questions ahead of time so you can get prepared. But mostly just a open-ended discussion, and like to hear your thoughts. So if anybody's interested, please feel free to contact and follow up with me, and we can get that set up for the next couple of weeks.
All right, thanks. And before we go to questions, John, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, we just really appreciate your time and your interest in this. And it's very helpful for us to hear what you're representing, who you've contacted, and what your people are saying in your districts about the path and the trail system. So we like to float some dates out there for you folks and encourage you to participate with us in this. So thank you very much.
Any of the members have any questions? Okay, Liz?
Oh, just a comment. I did the interview. I was at John Loper in Sydney, and it was kind of actually fun to do. We spent about an hour on the phone, and we talked about the trails, and it wasn't a trick trick questions or anything, but I think we had a lot of good conversation, and I liked some of the ideas that they were proposing, so it was well worth it. And I love these trails, and I hope that we make them a priority and we can expand them throughout the county.
This will be put on the website today. Do people have an opportunity to respond if they wanted to leave something and add some content to what we've already presented today?
That's a good question. I'm not sure I think there are comment opportunities, but we can make sure that there are.
All right, my only question was, it seems to me that the trail app should be such a big thing, and it seems like it's gotten little usage. I was just curious because everything is an app. So is there anything we can do to have the app utilized more than what it is? Because it was what, 10% or less than 10%?
Yeah, and one of the good parts about that is that the number of paper maps, being requested and sent out and published is down considerably, which reduces our cost internally. But the Trails app, we can expand out and actually put it out on the web itself as a web app, not just an internal DuPage app. So,
well, I think that'd be good. My only other question is that when it says crossing or automobiles 33%, is there any of that is really in an immediate need, or we need to address, or it's just a car crossing? 33% seems like it's a significant amount. And I'm just curious, are we talking a location or several locations, or is there a location we should look at? That was the only concern I had from a public safety component.
well, I think Bill's group will be, very much involved with this in traffic engineering and safety, component of it. But yeah, there are a couple of locations that are probably focus areas and mostly on the Illinois Prairie Path. So.
Yeah, and I'll add to that, John and I, both of our sections, every year we go through a review of the crash history and evaluate, anywhere that there's any changes in the trends. And we definitely look closely and we've considered federal funding through the safety program and things like that for, trails crossings in particular. And nothing has risen to a level where we need immediate attention.
Thank you.
But we do continue to look at it every year as the data, we get the data annually. So we look at it when the data comes in.
I was very pleased with the turnout. I was pleased with the response to this. So hopefully we'll get more when we put it online. So does anybody have any other thing, Liz?
Yeah, just about those crossings with the streets, because that was one of the things that I had brought up in my interview. That I don't use usually the Prairie Path up on the north side of DuPage, but sometimes I'm driving past it, and like if I'm going to an event on a Saturday morning, I notice lots of people are just walking, and they're walking their dogs. They're not really, they're just walking right across. I don't know if it's Spring or York, whatever, but as a driver for myself, it makes me very nervous. So I was like, if we could, I don't know if you could even, use funding to like, have like railroad crossing guard arms come down and say, hey, when people are coming, you stop, and then have like something for the people, like a little arm that comes down to stop them because they're really not paying attention and,
That is one of the biggest challenges is,
how do you get,
and, across the country and even the world.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear studies in Europe about people stepping off the curb while they're on their cell phone,
yes, they're not.
getting injured, and it's definitely a challenge.
Yeah, so, but that was my concern as well, and we brought it up and talked about it a little bit, but I think the trails are really, they're really so good for DuPage.
Jim too, I think it's a great place.
Thank you, and I know I'm not on this committee, but it's very timely, as I had just received an email yesterday about concern of and possibly using the solar-powered lighting crosswalk warning signs at certain roadways. Is that something, and this one specifically says County Farm Road and Great Western Trail, but is that something that is worth looking into, the cost of those?
We look, yeah.
Especially with 33% saying that's a concern?
Yeah, definitely. We've looked into them. That location in particular, there's some other criteria that IDOT has established that we follow that try to determine if that level of traffic control is appropriate or not. And, we've looked at that location. It's too much traffic.
Yeah,
There's
like
there's
5 lanes
little bit
there.
of yeah, and a little bit of a hill that makes that kind of control impractical and may actually make it unsafe for the pedestrians because it potentially gives them a false sense of security. To your point.
May I reply
Yeah.
verbatim on?
You're welcome to, or you can send them to us.
And maybe I'll do that as well.
Yeah, if you want to
Forward
send,
it to Bill.
Yeah. yeah, I'll give you my email or you can send it to Director Snyder and he'll get it to me and
Thank you very
handle
much.
it that way, yeah.
Thank you, Chairman.
Anybody else have anything regarding our presentation? Any report from our state's
Nothing
attorney,
at this time, Mr. Chairman.
other than the Krajewski question? Do we have anything under old business?
No,
Anything under new business?
no.
So without objection, we stand adjourned. Bill, you did a very good job today.
Yes,
Snyder might not be
Bill.
taking as much time off. I tell you what, handled it perfectly.
The Krajewski question sounds like